Hey everyone, welcome to Jay here with another live review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the first two short treks of the season, which are Q&A, which was the fifth short trek altogether. It's called Q&A, and then the sixth short trek, which is called The Trouble with William. Okay, so first I'm going to give you a rundown of what happened in episode the short trek 5, and then I'm going to go with the short trek 6. I'll give you my opinions on both of them as I get to them. Okay, so with number 5, Q&A, it's the Spock one. It's the Spock and number one, and it's honest. It's not actually regular Spock that we know. It's Ensign Spock. So this is his first day on the Enterprise, and he beams over, and he's like really excited. He's got a little smile on his face, and he's greeted by number 1, and she takes him and she says, like the first response, the first job that you have as a junior officer is to ask a lot of questions of everyone, including me. So Spock starts asking her all these questions, like, "What do you think of this? And what do you think of that?" Running off at it. And they get to a turbo lift, and they start to go to the destination, and it stalls. It just stalls. And they have to spend some time in there while it's getting fixed or whatever. And they start, they talk, and Spock continues asking her all these questions, and she finally, is like, "Whoa, let me ask you a question." She was like, "Earlier today," she said, when I met you in the transporter room, I thought I saw a little bit of a smile in your face." And he was like, "Affirmative." And she was like, "I thought Vulcans didn't smile, even half Vulcans," or something like that. And he's like, "No, normally we don't. It's not acceptable," or whatever like that. And she's like, "Well, some advice, don't do that again. If you want to succeed, if you want to get far, you have to hide your freak." And that, I didn't like that part, because I was like, part of Star Trek is not hiding your freak, it's embracing your freak. And your geek, embrace your geek and your freak. But yeah, she tells him, don't do that. Don't show your freak. Don't let your freak your freak flag fly. She's like, just like hide your geek. And he asks her a question, "Are you hiding your geek?" And she was like, "I'm your freak." And she was like, "Yes." And she starts to sing, "I am the very model of a modern day general." Whatever that song is, I don't know it that well. But she starts singing that, and she's like circling around him. She's having a great time. She's got this huge smile on her face, and she's just having a ball at it. And then she starts to slow down, because she sees, like, Spock is not receptive to this. And then Spock just picks up on that, and he just starts, singing along with her. And as they were getting into it, the hatch starts to open up, so they just stop. They get all proper, and they're like, "Okay," and they leave. Um, Later on the bridge, Pike meets Spock, and it's like, do Vulcans take wonder in, this, seeing anomalies like this, you know, um, and phenomenon like this? And he's like, "Yes, we do, but we don't show it," or something like that. And then him and number 1, Spock and number 1, get this like look, like, "Yes, we know what we're really thinking inside. We know each other's freak now." That This episode was pretty good. I mean, the short check was pretty good, but it had a couple of little things I didn't like in it, which was the Spock smiling, because Spock's not supposed to smile, but I understand that. Um, so I'm okay with that. Uh, the Hydra freak, that was a little bit like anti Trek, because Trek again is all about embracing your freak and showing your freak and letting your freak be known to everyone, not being ashamed of who you are, but embracing it. And that was a little bit off point to me, off model, off brand, if you want. But and there's another problem I had with, which was the turbo lifts. We got to see the inner workings of the turbo lift shafts, and it was very much, it looked too expansive. Like, I get what they were trying to show, but in when you look at like Star Trek Next Generation and beyond, like the turbo check, the the shafts look very much like a elevator shaft. You know, they just look, you know, like straight up. They got the walls. They got the little ladder so you can climb up in case you get stuck. And that's what they do. But here they were like networks of tubes, like in a big open massive space, which was turning around and like that. Um, and that is just something I felt like it seems like there's a lot of empty space within inside of the enterprise. You know, it's like a massive amount of space has to be within the enterprise to be showing all that inner working, because it looked like a huge empty space there. You know, so that was like my one major thing, was just because I think it didn't fit the science of the ship. You know, it would have to be a lot of empty space inside the enterprise. But anyway, this episode was overall really good. I give it 4.25 stars. I thought it was 4.25 Delta stars. I'm sorry, Delta shields. So 4.25 Delta shields. Can't. I'm having trouble speaking today, people. But let's go into episode 6. Okay, this is the short check episode 6. This is the trouble with William. This is the one that had that people eating tribbles, and it was like, the girl's like, "Ooh, this is crunchy and furry," or something like that. Um, that I will tell you right away. That was just like a mock commercial for Tribble cereal. Like, it was like a mock commercial for it. But this one has Lynn. I forget what her name is. I'm trying to think of what her name is. She was a Lynn Lucero. She was a um a science officer on the Enterprise, and she got promoted to captain of her own ship. And the ship is going to research a way to help a planet near the Klingon border, but they can't let the Klingons know because they're starving on this planet. So as one of her first duties, she calls in her officers, and they're sitting around the table and they're discussing ways of trying to save this planet and help this planet succeed. And she gets to one officer, William, and she goes, what do you have to offer? And he's like, what are you and your team working on? And he was like, I don't have a team. I work by myself. And she's like, okay, well, what are you working on? He was like, I didn't know we could pull resources or, work together and all this. And she's like, okay, just let me know what you're working on. He was like, well, there's a species, and he says the like scientific name for it, and he goes, but everybody calls them tribbles. He was like, and he shows an image of them, and they're like, oh, they're so cute, they're so cute. And he was like, yeah, but they're I think we can make these for them to eat. They can eat these. And he was like, because underneath all that fur, there's a lot of meat. He was like, it's like red and it's like scallops, and they're all like, like they're talking about like eating this, almost like as if you were talking about eating a gerbil. Someone was talking about, oh, you can eat a gerbil. They got a lot of meat on them. People would be like, oh, really? Like, why? But that's how he was talking about it so casually. And she's like, well, are they intelligent? And he was like, I don't know. He was like, they're pretty basic. You just leave them there. He was like, um, he said, I don't know. He said, you really can't see their face because they're so furry and all that. And she was like, no, I mean, like, she was like, I mean, that because of eating them and all. And he was like, oh, well, we can genetically modify that out. We'll make them so they have no personality, less intelligent. They'll be slow. He was like, we could take that out of them. They'll be brain dead. And they're all like, oh my God, like, what are you talking about? And then he says, a major problem with them is that they breed slowly. And if you know anything about the tribbles, the problem with them is not that they breed slowly, is that they breed quickly. And the thing is, they weren't always like that. This shows you the origin of the tribbles in a way, because they breed quickly because he genetically modified them. And how he did that was by injecting unauthorized. He done it because she told him to drop the experiment and just go on with it. Try something different in climate or something. Like, let's just try to get their food done the way that they have it. And then she goes, yeah, let's just like not do that. Let's just do something different. We'll do something different. And he's like, whatever. So he goes and he's like really mad at her. Everybody's talking about her, like, how great she is. She's like, no. He's like, no, she's not really. No. And then you know, she calls him into her office and they talk, and she says, she got a complaint from her superior, told her that there was a complaint made by someone on the crew, and it said that, she doesn't know what she's doing, she's bad for her job, and she's dumb. It was an anonymous complaint, and she said, pretty much everyone knows it's you. Hey, Tevye, welcome to the show, the review. So she's like, everyone knows it was you. She's like, so I'm pretty much going to transfer you, and he starts to, and she's like, you're dismissed. And then he starts to talk, and she's like, no, you're dismissed. And he's like, but no. She was like, conversation's over, you leave, you are dismissed. And he's like trying to engage with her, and she's like, no, go now. Like, this is done. That's an order. Leave. And he doesn't want to do it. And he's like, I'm not dumb. I'm not dumb. You think I'm dumb. I'm not dumb. And he's overreacting to this. And you see his mind like slowly slipping away as he's arguing with her. And then he's in his lab, and he's like, kind of mad and all that, and he just takes a hypo spray and like releases it into this like cage with the tribble, and nothing seems to be wrong. Later on, there, everybody starts to. He's walking down the thing, and everybody's like running, and he's like walking in like his shirt and like a pair of like tidy whities, but they're like blue, so tidy blueies. And he's like, "What's wrong?" She was like, "Something's happened in the research lab." One of the other crew members, and he starts going there, and it's the tribbles. They're populating. They're like popping up out of it, and they're expanding throughout the thing. And she's like, "What have you done?" And he was like, "Oh, I didn't do it." Da, da, da. And then they start talking, trying to figure out, what's going on. The triples are expanding so high. Um, he basically tells her that he mixed human DNA with them, and that's why they're replicating fast. And she's like, "Whose DNA did you use?" And he was like, "Well, mine." And she's like, "Why?" And he was like, "Why? Using so and so's would be better. Like, they're more intelligent, they're smarter than me, or something like that." And she's like, "Oh my god." So they start like trying to stun all of them, because they find out that they're born pregnant. So and she's like stunning. They're like stunning them, but it's not helping any. Like, they're just massively like. I've never seen a tribble populate this fast, like on any of the Star Trek incarnations. I think they even done it in Discovery. They showed a tribble. So I know that they were populating fast there too. So I'm not sure how they did this, but apparently this is how it is. So yeah, the tribbles are like taking over the ship. They're in the side. The transporters aren't working because of it. Systems are going down because of they're expanding so much. Um, and it's just like she orders them all to like abandon ship. So everybody abandons ships. William, as she's getting into an escape pod with a couple of people, William comes and he's like, "You think I'm dumb?" And he's like going, and you can see like this wave of tribbles just like multiplying behind him, and they're like coming down. It's like a slow moving avalanche, and he's like, "You think I'm dumb, but I'm not dumb. I did this. I did everything." Blah blah blah. And she's like, "Come on, William, you gotta get out of here." She was like, "No, I can do this, blah blah blah. And she's like begging him to come with her, but the tribbles are just like going, and they're coming behind him, and then they take over him, and he's like drowned inside of them, like he's just like covered in them, and they're approaching to where the escape pod is, and she puts up the force field, and they take off, and you see, William is no more, and breaches are starting to happen on the ship and everything. And she's before the Federation Council, and they're saying, well, this all happened on your first command within the first week or whatever. You lost your ship. You exposed. You set loose this race. You genetically modified a species that got loose. It destroyed the ship. It's loose. They're made it to this planet, which had to be evacuated now because it's overrun with these people, these things, and to make it even worse, these things have made it into Klingon space now. He's like, so you made it intergalactic incident, and he was like, and you put in your report that this is all the fault of one man who was lost, and he was like, how could this all happen with just from one man? And she goes, he was an idiot, and that's it. So this was another okay one. I think it's very humorous, and honestly this felt more like an episode of the Orville, where the Orville has that humor, and maybe that's what they were going for, because Orville is very popular, and people were saying how they prefer Orville over Discovery because Orville's more Trek than Discovery is. Um, so maybe the writers want to get a little bit of the Orville flavor in there, and I think that's what they were going for, and it really like mucked it up. I think it made it too humorous and too much of that. So I don't know. I didn't like it. Maybe it'll work better in the animated series, which we'll be getting those soon. But I'm not sure about this. But it was still a solid episode. I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 Delta stars. So yeah. So that's those. Now we do have more coming up, and these are going to be released the second Thursday of every month for the next 3 months. So I'm going to get the list of them up so I can tell you guys when they're going to be, and they're going to be on CBS All Access. I'm not sure where they're airing internationally. If they're on Netflix, I think they're going to be on Netflix still internationally. Even though Amazon has Picard, I think these are still a part of the CBS Netflix deal. So just let me get this list up real fast. But yeah, they're going to be the second Thursday of every month. Next month we're getting the last one of the Pike series, and then in December we'll get the 2 animated ones, and then in January, right before Picard, we will be getting I think it's like 2 weeks before Picard, we'll be getting the Picard episode that would lead directly into Picard. Just trying to get this out real fast, see if I can get it. I should have done this before, but I'm sorry, just came home from work, tired, not myself, so sorry about the delays and everything. But let's see if I can get this up real fast. But yeah, so we got the 3 more, like I said, and the next one I believe is the 10th of next month. I want to say. Let's see. Why won't this move? I'm sorry. I'm trying to get this to go. It's not opening up this file for me for some reason. Let me see if I can just look it up. Sorry, everyone. Trying to get this done. Trying to get this, real fast. But yeah, so we're gonna get those. We do have the 3 for All right, so here they go. We got Q&A's up now. So is the William. I mean Edward. I'm sorry, I kept saying William this whole time. I'm gonna put that in the description, and I'm gonna have to change the title of this episode and all. It's the trouble with Edward. I'm sorry, it's the trouble with Edward. I apologize. Um, on November 14th, we'll have um Ask Not, and then on let's see, in December, let's see, December 12th, we're gonna have The Girl Who Made the Stars and Ephraim and Dot. So those are going to be the 2 animated ones, and they're going to both be on December 12th. So that would be interesting to see what they do with the animated ones. Ask Not will be by itself, so I'm going to be reviewing that next month on November 14th. November 12th, I'll do the 2 animated ones. And then January 9th will be the Children of Mars. That will be the Star Trek card one. I'll be doing that on January 9th. So I don't know what time of the day they released, because they released today's early, so they released early. Normally they were waiting until like 8 o'clock to release them, 8:30, but on Thursdays. But this year they've released them early, so I don't know if that's going to be the new thing that they're going to be doing. But yeah, I thought this was overall really good. Tony Robinson says, "Jay, what's up? Hey, Tony Robinson, welcome." Just finishing up this review of the short tracks that were up. The last one came out during New York Comic Con last Thursday, or no, last Saturday, and then this one came out today. So the first 2 were up, and again, it's the trouble with Edward. I'm sorry, I kept saying William. I don't know why I was saying William, but it's the trouble with Edward, and I'm gonna correct that right after the show is done. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna edit the title. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that's my review. Hope you guys like it. Again, the first one, episode 5, 4.25 star Delta Shields, and the second one is Trouble with Edward is 4.5. I mean 4 Delta Shields, and I say watch them both. If you like the Orville, I think you would like The Trouble with Edward. And if you like what's going on with Discovery and all, I think you would like with the Q&A one. Okay, so I think those 2 are, that's how you would like them if you're going to classify them as whatever. But yeah, that's the end for this. I'll see you again back in November on the November 14th for X Dot. That'll be the next review I do, and I'm gonna be reviewing every episode Picard. Catch me tomorrow. I'm gonna be having a review for Titans episode 6. I'll have that up tomorrow morning. I'm gonna also do some other stuff this weekend, so stay tuned to here. Stay tuned to Comic Phanatic. The links will be in the description below. Check out everything I'm doing. Follow me on Twitter at Comic Book Theater. Wait, right here. Comic Book Theater, right about here. So check me out there. And again, also on Comic Phanatic. So until then, live long and prosper.